Hi everyone, I am Allison. Thank you for joining me for Where I'm From 171 with Audra. As many of you know, I live in Los Angeles and have for over 25 years. Um, and I thought about canceling today when I had a pinched nerve from the election, but I am grateful for these poems and all the amazing people that it's brought into my life. Hi, Audra.
Hi, how are you? And how is everybody?
Yeah,
I didn't know if we were going to do this today. Hi.
yeah. Like I was just saying, I thought about rescheduling, but then, which I've thought about other times when things were happening. And then I always just think, I'm very grateful um,
Yeah.
for this. I'm grateful for community and art and all of these things that keep me going. And they're important. And I'm happy for the distraction too, to be honest. I'm a bit paralyzed. I just messaged someone. It's just so overwhelming. Um, the destruction and to see the city that's been my home for half my life in so much pain. It's hard. Um, and we're safe and we have
Hi.
power and we're very lucky. And and I know that. And yeah, it's just I mean, I think I've heard from so many friends, who don't live here just checking in. And I think it's hard even for people who don't live here, just watching it. And it's just devastating.
It is devastating to watch. I mean, as you know that we're neighbors to the right of you.
Hmm.
I live 600 miles away from you, and it is devastating to watch. Um, we're starting to get smog
I would think
floating on
so,
over,
yeah. Hmm.
and just it's unreal. It is unreal to see.
Yeah, it is. But I read your poem, and I'm very, I mean, I'm going to try not to cry. I was going to say excited. I don't know if that's quite the right word. I just am looking forward to it. And this, much like I think you experience with your podcast, it's just, I don't know. I think sacred probably is too strong a word, but it is a special place. This virtual place, these virtual places we've
Yeah,
created, um, they're special to me.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're um they are. They're sacred spaces. They're intimate spaces
Mm-hmm.
on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
to be to allow you to be vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
and real with strangers um and friends you didn't know that you had,
Mm-hmm.
people that you didn't know you needed, um, and things that you never knew that you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, it's how the people that I've met, I do consider it a community of sorts, like that we're
Mhm.
connected in a way that we weren't connected before. And for me, like, I mean, all I can say to so many people in LA that I've been messaging with is like, I think community is the only thing that gets us through this and so many things. Like feeling connected to people, um, is the hope for me. Like that's what gets me out of bed in the morning is feeling connected to people.
Yeah. And this is doing this poem is really special. It's very unique. It's a really unique experience. It was difficult for me to do,
Mm-hmm.
but it it was cathartic for me to do. It
Mm-hmm.
was um special for me to do, exciting for me to do. I'm going to try and get through it without crying. So,
Yeah, I usually try to write one around my birthday, which is coming up. And so I want to write one. And I was really determined to make this one sort of like a happy one. And I was like, man, this is going to be tricky.
yeah,
Um, because there are so many beautiful things
there
to
are.
remember.
There are. This one just didn't come out that way.
I know it's
Uh,
funny, right? We can talk about it after you read it, but it's like sometimes I often feel it's not really something I control, you know?
yeah. No, I didn't really know how it was going to come out,
Mhm.
but it didn't come out happy. I mean, I wanted it to, but it didn't.
Yeah,
It didn't, but it came out truthful.
yeah.
So how's that? It came out truthful.
Like that's the most important thing
So
for me.
um, so I'm ready to read
Okay.
whenever you are.
Yep. Go for it,
So
Audra.
I'm gonna take a drink of water because I don't really know how this is gonna go. Do all of your guests start out like this?
You
A little
know,
nervous?
I think most people are a little nervous. I think the combination of Instagram Live, which nobody feels comfortable with, and I think it feels vulnerable. Mhm.
Ironically, the Instagram Live is the least of my concerns.
Yeah, because you do. I mean, but for some people, it's like it's just they don't like it at all. For me, it doesn't bother me at this point because I've done it enough
Yeah,
times. But
yeah,
I know at first I was like, "Oh, this is live." I'm like, yeah, it's all right.
yeah. At this point, I'm like,
It is what it is.
I don't care. So, so yeah, I will read
Okay.
it as to where I'm from. So, where I'm from bare feet on hot sidewalks, from Pato Sauce and Vicks. I'm from the Valley of the Sun. Beautiful and magical, the smell of rain in the desert. I'm from Saguaro Cacti, standing ancient and proud in beautiful summer rays. I'm from tamale making and body shaming, even though those two contradict each other. From Grams and Papa being a safe place because they didn't hit and scream. And I thought that was love, but I was never hugged or told I love you. I'm from standing stoic in front of you as you hit or screamed at me, but I didn't shed one tear. You tried to break me, but I would not give you the satisfaction. But I cry now all those tears I couldn't cry then. From this isn't good enough, and you better learn how to take care of yourself because no one will. I'm from you will go to Catholic school, but don't you dare question what I do with my time and my religion. I'm from Mexico, Spain, and a little bit of Anglo mutt. Beans and tortillas are my favorite comfort food, but there doesn't seem to be enough comfort for the ache I feel. From the stories of Juan Francisco Bautista de Anza that I've passed to my children as their history, to the path I've walked as the curse breaker, I create a new inheritance.
You did it. No, that was beautiful. And I only teared up. So we both did it. Um,
I did it
I
while
so
holding my breath.
I so strongly related to the I mean I did cry as a kid, but I do relate to that later. I think when you feel safe, um, being able to cry, um, and uh, and that comfort is hard to find. Um, I find, like I said earlier, I think I have found it in people who make me feel safe.
Yeah.
Uh, which well, if you told little me that was possible, she would have been like, I don't know about that. So
Yeah.
that's a great gift. But it was so visual. It was so visceral for me. I think because it is so close to where I grew up, and we talk about around Christmas about tamales and tamale making and all of that. So did you do that often, or just at the holidays?
Just at the holidays. Yeah, just at the holidays because it's too much work otherwise.
Yes. Yeah. And also the contradictory messages that you received. I feel like
Yeah,
a lot of us can relate to that in different ways.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, you're supposed to enjoy it, but you can't
Yeah.
enjoy it, and you can't even, at least for me, the dissonance, you feel it in your bones, but you can't articulate it until
Yeah,
later.
because it's, there's so much work and there's so much love involved.
Yeah.
Then when you eat it, and then you're told, but don't eat too many, they'll make you fat. You know, it's
And the thing that makes you fat is what makes them good too, by the way.
yes, pretty much. Pretty much.
Without that, is it really so
Yeah, I
good?
mean, who wants low fat muffins?
Exactly. It's sort of contra. Yeah, no, no one does.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I thought also, talking about love, but not being told you're loved or hugged or held or I was fortunate I did have someone who my mom did love me and tell me she loved me and hold me, and that is something that I have made a point of in my life more with the people I love, but it doesn't always come easy.
yeah. It's I will tell you that hugs are weird for me.
Still, yeah.
Still,
I
they're
try to
still weird.
ask people because certain people I really don't want them to hug me. Like I'm sure you have that experience. Certain people like to hug everyone, and you're like, I don't want that. And so I try to ask people, is it okay if I don't always remember, but I do, because it's like, it's not for everyone, hugging.
No, no. I mean,
Hmm.
especially if you haven't been
Hmm.
brought up
Hmm.
with that, it's just really strange,
Hmm.
and it's not that you don't want that, you just no longer know how. Or or in my case, it was something that you longed for so long, but then you told yourself you didn't want
For
it
sure.
anymore.
Hmm.
And then so now you just don't know how to anymore. I mean, after 53 years, you're just like, I don't know how to do it
Yeah,
anymore.
that's so well put. I think that telling yourself you don't want something, and then in fact wanting it or liking it is kind of weak and lame, and people who want it and like it are less. I mean, like
Yeah,
that's certainly where I got to a certain narratives. Like I'm tougher than that, or
yeah.
whatever. Because what
I
else are you going to
don't.
tell yourself?
Yes, you're not gonna say, you know, well, I mean, because the alternative is worse. Is that
Yep. Yep.
you want it, you're not getting it because is it because you don't deserve it? You're not
Yeah.
enough. You're not this. You're not that. So then you tell yourself, well, I don't want it. I don't need it.
Hmm.
And so then you get to an age where you're old enough, and then you're like, okay, but I do, but I don't know how to receive it anymore.
Hmm.
So then you feel weird and awkward, and you give these weird awkward hugs, and you don't mean to. You just become awkward. And in my case, I just make up for my awkwardness with quirkiness, and
Mm.
that works for me now.
Hmm.
You know,
Those go well together.
yeah,
Hmm.
because people think that that's adorable. So that just has become part of my personality. So
Hmm.
it works for me somewhat.
Well, good for you. And I think that the self-loathing that you aren't getting hugs, and then I mean, I think that's also part of the package. I mean, I certainly vacillated between those two, the self-loathing and then the self-congratulatory. Actually, I'm tough and I don't want them, or whatever it is. It's like it's fun. You get to do all of it. It's not.
No. Yes. So
Yeah. Hmm.
those of you that are Gen Xers that grew up with
Mm.
these parental units that didn't know the damage that they do, you get to carry all these lovely scars along with you along the way.
Hmm.
But it makes for really interesting personalities.
It does, and I don't think it's exclusive to Gen X, unfortunately. I mean, I think that we are hopefully. Um, I don't know if I just gave thumbs up down somehow. I didn't mean to.
You did.
Okay. Hopefully we're like doing better. Like that's all I hope is that we're like for me I do still hug my kids a lot, and I made a concerted effort to do it. Um, Even when it was a little uncomfortable at first. Now I'm used to it and I love it. But at first it was like, oh wow, a lot of hugs.
Yeah.
Still need hugs. Okay. But it's yeah. You break patterns,
Yeah. There's a lot of
try
touching
different
going
things.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of
Yeah.
touching going on.
It's special though. It's sweet.
Yeah.
Um, so you said a little bit about what the experience. So at any point were you like, why did I sign up to do this, or did you feel good about doing it?
Um, n- no, I always was like, this is something I have to do.
Mhm.
This is definitely something that I have to do, but it took me a long time. I'm glad that you gave me plenty of time to do it because it took me that entire
Mhm.
time to do it. Like I worked on this for almost that entire time.
So were you like writing drafts? Were you thinking about it, or
I thought
both,
about it
or?
the entire time.
Mhm.
Like I would start on it and be like, no, that's not quite it. No,
Mhm.
that's not quite it. I mean, I was literally editing it up until probably 2 hours ago.
Oh wow! And are you happy with it? Like, do
I
you feel like
am.
it's good?
I am. Like I there were edits that I was still doing. Like there was for the most part I was happy with it, but there was little changes here and there that I was making because I was like, there's it's not quite the tone. It's not quite
Mm-hmm.
right. But yes, I made some final changes and I was like, yeah, that's it. That's it.
I'm
So
glad. I'm glad you're happy with it.
yeah.
That's what matters the most. So were you, like you sort of hinted at it beforehand, that you were surprised where it took you, or that you kind of wanted to be happier and it wasn't? Like, when did you make that realization pretty early on that it
I
was going to take you someplace?
yeah, because I tried in the beginning to make to when I read through it, I was like, I really would like to make it happy, but I just couldn't because it wouldn't be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't going to be authentic because I know my history. I know from where I come from. And anything other than that would have been a fairy
Mm-hmm.
tale.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know what I've done to break break the changes or
Mm-hmm.
make the break the bonds that have seemed to plague my family. So I thought that that was an important message to put in there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
That
I love that your grown self is reflecting back.
yeah,
That, or those are both present. The
yes,
the the Audra of today and the little
yeah,
Audra.
and that I wanted to because that picture that I sent of myself was one of my favorite
It's a
pictures,
wonderful picture.
and I wanted to do something kind for her, because
Yeah.
she went through a lot,
Yeah.
and I wanted her to know that she's
Yeah.
okay, that
Hmm.
she made it through the other side, and see, oh look, now I'm tearing, and that she was okay, that she was going to be okay, and that she was going to survive even though she was really tiny
Hmm.
and she couldn't she did everything she could, everything she knew how to in that tiny little body,
Hmm.
even though she all she had was her wits and her will,
Hmm.
um and her her just her unwielding does her unwielding will to let anybody break her, that it served her well, and that she came out on the other side and everything's okay. So I felt that she deserved to know that.
Yeah, I think it's so important and powerful to honor those parts of us, those young versions of ourselves. And I think, I don't know if you ever like talk to her or whatever, but when I have with these younger parts of myself, they're always like real surprised we're still around, because
Yeah.
when you're little like that, you're like, I mean, you just don't know, because you just have no perspective and you are just trying to survive. And I want to say this to you because I was said to me by my therapist early on, and I felt so, I don't know, good when she said it. Um, she said, you're not strong because of what happened to you. You're strong because you lived through it, because you survived. Like you made it. Like this thing didn't make you strong. You always were. And it's so clear when you're talking about yourself, like that you've always been this strong fighter, um, and you did it.
Yeah, it's you don't realize that you didn't that it's that you are because
Yeah.
you're you just are just trying to be,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's not till you
But
get to the other side that you're
not
like,
everybody makes it, you know?
it's true.
And you realize that as you get older too, where I have like, not everybody makes it. Um,
That's true.
and you did.
I
She did. And
yeah.
that picture, I would have been very envious of your hair if you had been my friend. My goodness. I like saw it. I was like, oh man, because I really, really wanted long hair like that, but it's not in the cards for me. And you had the most amazing like yarn in your hair,
It
ribbon.
it was this beautiful beautiful yarn.
Mm-hmm.
They were like these yarn ribbons in my hair, and I had
They
this
look amazing.
this is the cutest little top. I think I was 3,
You look
and
older, of course. To me, you
yes,
look older, which I think
yeah,
happens a lot too in these situations. You always
yeah,
seem like a little grown up when you're
yeah,
a child. Hmm.
yeah. I think I was like 3, and I showed that picture to my daughter, and she's like, "Mom, you're wearing a little belly shirt." And I was wearing a little belly shirt, and I had matching little red shorts on. You couldn't see that in that picture, but I was wearing little red shorts, and I loved that little outfit because I felt so pretty and free in that outfit. I remember that I just felt so free in that outfit. I don't know why I did. I just did.
Hmm.
And I just loved it. And that picture, actually, you could put that picture up against my daughter and it could be her.
Oh, that's sweet. I had
So,
outfits like that I loved, but I don't know. I have a couple, but not a ton of pictures in those out. But I just remember certain things. I definitely had a relationship to clothing and how it would make me feel in the world. And when things were particularly hard, I would cycle through outfits like, oh, this one doesn't feel good enough. I would like look at my clothes, like, what's the one that's going to get me through today? Whole, or whole-ish or whatever, like I really felt that there was some connect, because you have very little power when you're that
mhm,
age. And so that felt like something I could choose. And I wanted to believe it had significant
yeah.
consequences. Um, so I understand loving something like that.
My little outfit and
Your
my bare
hair.
feet.
Oh man, was I barefoot too? So you were barefoot in Phoenix when it's hot as Hades.
Yep,
Hmm.
constantly. Still
Yeah.
am.
Are you still? My feet are
Still.
not tough like that. Like I was barefoot all the time, and I wonder because my kids never did, and I'm happy for them. But man, would I stub my toes and split my toes open? Did you?
Oh yeah, constant. I yeah,
Oh
I
God,
but yeah, I
it
love
hurts like a
running.
lot. Stub
It,
toe is not really an accurate
no,
word for what it feels like.
no, and but I can't help it.
You still love it.
I still love running around barefoot. I can't help it. I
Yeah,
mean,
my body's like, no, put some freaking shoes on, lady.
I,
You need the support.
I mean, there's admittedly towards the end of the day, because I do work from home and there's tile in my house.
Hmm.
Towards the end of the
Hmm.
day, I do have to put flip flops or
Hmm.
something on my feet,
Yeah.
because my back gets
Yes.
tired.
That's what I'm saying. My knees, it's like, but
Things
I
get
think of all the things I did barefoot. I mean, I, like you, ran all over the place, and I grew up near the beach, and we'd run down the jetties
Mhm.
barefoot, run. I don't know how I did that. But I did. And I remember actually going to Mexico and being barefoot like I was here and getting blisters on my feet because I was not prepared for the heat. That's why I'm saying you in Phoenix, like you must have had considerable calluses and like because it's really hot.
Yeah, just ran around like a wild child, running around barefoot,
Yeah.
climbing trees, barefoot,
Hmm.
like like a wild little desert child.
Hmm. sweet. It was a
Um,
different place, a different time, but also different. I mean, Phoenix was, I'm very different.
it was very different then. It wasn't a contrary to current belief. It was definitely not as hot as it is now.
Yes, climate change is real.
Yes, it
I'm
was.
here living in Los Angeles to tell you that climate change is
Yeah,
real. Yeah,
yes, you're surrounded by your city burning, and yes, it is real.
yeah, yeah. But some people, it's very hard, and I try not to watch any of these people who are bad mouthing Los Angeles right now. But it's like, ugh, be
Yes,
quiet.
yes. When sleepy little coastal little towns are just not there anymore.
I know, I know. One of the restaurants, I was just there a few weeks ago with my kids. We went because it's one of our favorite places. It's gone.
Just
Um,
gone.
it's a really powerful reminder to like live life each day because you just don't know. But
Mhm.
I kind of feel that way anyway. I think that has something to do with the childhood bit.
Yeah,
You just don't know.
yes.
Um,
Don't know. I
but
definitely don't know.
any other thoughts, Audra? It's lovely to see you today. I'm glad that we
To
did
see
this.
you. I am too. It was it was a privilege to do this. It was like I said, it was sacred to do this, and I consider myself honored to do this in such wonderful company, to do this in part of your project, and to join the other people that have done it, because it's precious. Um, People that are sharing their innermost thoughts. I mean, I've read other people's poems. Very few of them are happy. I mean,
I know, but it was so funny. One of my friends was, and she was like, I mean, that was like this. She almost was like apologetic. I was like, it's okay. It's lovely to have someone come and share their happy
yeah,
childhood. Like, no apologies necessary. You don't
no,
have to.
I'm I'm glad that you are.
Yeah, it was like the sweetest. Oh, she's also a very sweet person, but it was just like, no, there's no requirement here,
No,
you know? Yeah,
I'm that actually gives me joy that you had a
it
beautiful
does.
childhood.
It does.
Not everybody has to have crappy ones.
Right, right.
Um,
But there seems to be some relationship
yeah,
between writers and people who are interested. And I think also looking backwards, I mean, I've said it here many times, but I know that for a very long time I felt bad and wrong, that I couldn't like get over it. And I think this whole experience has helped me accept that it's not something to get over.
yeah.
That's not the goal. But I think for a long time it felt like it was.
I think it's something to integrate.
Yep. Yep.
It's
Agreed.
it's something that I thought I used to have to apologize for or
Mm.
hide.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but now I just realize that it's what makes me me,
Yeah.
and it's okay. But it's also my responsibility to make things better for what comes next for me and for my kids and for the community around me. Because now
Mm.
that I know better, I do better. So
Yeah.
so that's my job. It's that's what I do with whatever I've got, with whatever influence I have, is to make life better for those around me.
Yeah.
And if that means that I share my experience and get to express it with you through poem, then that's what it means.
Well, I'm so glad that you did today.
Thank
And
thank you for inviting me.
yeah, and thank you for all the people who stopped in. For those of you, I mean, I give everyone a big virtual hug, but for those of you who I see popping in who are in Los Angeles, big special one, because we're all in this together and we're going to get through it. Um, and well, thank you for your time and your
Thank you.
vulnerability, Audra. And I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you
Okay.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.